September is absolutely massive for lawn care. You're going to be hearing things like scarification, moss control, fertiliser and controlling lawn pests. And in this video I'm going to be breaking down 6 things that you can do in your lawn in September to get great DIY results. Welcome to September's lawn care calendar. We've got so much going on in the lawn in the months of September and October. I'm actually going to split this into 2-part series, and in this series we're going to be talking about the 6 key things you can do first to get the most out of your lawn in the month of September. These things are going to set you up whether it's a full renovation you're looking to do in part 2 or just underpin the basics to get great quality results in your lawn. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing to my channel and turning the notifications on for easy to follow lawn care tips. You can also find a link to some of the products that I'm using below, such as this backpack faithless sprayer on the left and the Iron Hill Scarifier on the right, which brings us right into tip number 1, scarification. Scarification is the process of removing some of the debris that sits in your lawn through a rake or tined system. You can see in this Iron Hill it comes with 2 cartridges. The first cartridge is this aerator / slitting cartridge. I'm going to be taking this out and moving it with the spring tine cartridge at the lawn rake and scarifier, and what this is going to do is rake through the sward and lift out any of the debris that's in there. It can also help to reduce the levels of moss, which is important if we're going to look to overseed. You don't want that moss to be spreading when you've opened up the sward. But also it can remove any dead material that's sitting in your sward grass and help with a more efficient seed to soil contact if you're looking to overseed in the future. Regular scarification can improve the health of your lawn, and I especially like to do a first pass towards the start of September. I'm going to be setting this on a higher setting just as initial rake, maybe lift out some of the moss and the first pass of debris, and then going to be going on to apply a iron sulfate to kill off any of the moss, and then I'll do a deeper scarification before I overseed later on in the month. The amount of material that you're going to be removing is really going to be dependent on the overall health of your lawn and how often that you've been maintaining it throughout the season. But you can really expect on lower settings to take out huge materials, and I've often filled up full wheelie bins just full of scarified material. I'm going to be doing a full product review of this Iron Hill, which I'll link up in the card when it comes out, and overall I found it really easy to use. I don't miss having a corded lawnmower, I will have to say that, but in terms of serving a purpose here, I'm going to do 2 passes across the lawn, and it's clearly lifting some of the grasses up and removing some dead material that's sitting on that lawn surface. You want to be watching out for more wetter weather, especially when you're going deep, so things don't dry up, and if there are hot spells, light watering may be needed, but you should be okay. If you're looking to apply some weed killers, you want to apply these around a month before scarification, and then after you've done this you can probably wait till next season before further applying weed killer to the lawn. That brings us on to the second tip, which is around killing off the remaining weeds of the season. Overall the weeds should be reducing now in terms of their frequency, which makes it, along with the weather, a good time to start overseeding because there's less potential for new weeds to germinate and contaminate your seed bed. Final weed control of the season can be expected in the next month or 2, and it could be a good time to think about if you are going to apply a full blanket treatment, you're probably going to catch most of the weeds for the rest of this season. If you don't have a lot of weeds in your lawn, you can still spot spray like me using a specialist lawn weed killer, which should say something like kills weeds, not lawns. If you're in doubt, I've left a link to the product in the description below. The next thing to look out for is pests and diseases. You can see here there's a leather jacket coming out of the lawn, and now is a prime time to focus on controlling the population of these using a product called nematodes. I've put a link in the card above to a video I've already done about using this product, so I'm not going to cover a super in detailed application, but basically a product like this Nemesis leather jacket control can be applied, mixed with a watering can and applied to your lawn, which basically introduces biological nematodes into the soil, which act almost as a parasite to the leather jackets and helps control the population. It's got a shelf life on it, so it's best to apply when you start to see daddy longlegs appearing from the lawn, and it's really important that you try to keep control of the population of these things because they can cause devastating effects to the lawn and completely wipe out a lawn. I've also dropped a link to this product in the description below if you're interested in applying something like this at home. With all the wet weather we've been having, there's also something else to look out for in the garden as well. The wet weather is also encouraging a lot of worms to come to the surface, which is creating worm casts in the garden. I know I've previously covered this little tip in one of my last videos, but for those who don't know, I found a little tool for a small size garden that works an absolute treat for controlling worm casts. And that's one of these afro type of combs that you can just slide through the grass blades and lift out any of the worm casts that you're seeing. You can control these when it's dry by brushing them off, or when it's wet you can actually blast them off with a jet of water, but this tool works pretty good as well. Something that goes hand in hand with a lot of the wet weather and the worm casts is iron sulfate. I'm going to be applying the iron using this new backpack sprayer that I've purchased. There's a link in the description below, and applying iron will give your lawn a nice green up. It'll also help control the moss, and it can make the surface less appealing for the worms to come up to, which can help to also prevent worm casts. I've worked out my dosage, what I'll need to cover my 70 square metre lawn in the sprayer, and I'm going to be also combining it with the seaweed application that I regularly use once a month in the sprayer. I like to put a decent amount of water in the sprayer first, add the product into it at the required dose, and then top up the sprayer with the remaining amount of water. Affiliate links to these products can be found in the description below. If you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to my channel for more easy to follow DIY lawn care tips. And stick around till the end of the video for the last 2 September tips. You need to be careful when using iron products near any hard surfaces because they will stain, so I recommend either wetting the hard surfaces first or also washing them down after your application, and also be careful about transfer onto any flower beds. Always make sure that you're applying the products in line with the label and any safety equipment is worn correctly. The next tip is around fertiliser. We're starting to transition away from a spring-summer type of fertiliser onto a autumn-winter type of fertiliser, and we don't want to be applying as much nitrogen to the lawn such as chicken pellets or sulfate of ammonia after the August period. They generally contain a high level of nitrogen, which is going to encourage green and leafy growth, and this can be susceptible to some of the more harsher weather moving into the back part of the year. Something to think about when fertilising is whether you're planning to core aerate and overseed. I'm going to be covering this in the next video, so please subscribe if you're interested in more deeper renovation topics. And applying a fertiliser in conjunction with hollow tine aerating will encourage deeper root growth, especially if it's an autumn winter type of fertiliser, which you're going to be looking for a higher phosphorus content, which will promote root growth. The last tip is going to be around mowing. You've probably noticed the growth is starting to slow down, and you may want to increase the height of the cut, which can provide a cultural control against moss by blocking out some of the light and encouraging the grass to be more healthier. The only exception to this would be if you're thinking of an overseed project where maybe you want to take the height down a little bit lower, but for a more detailed explanation of that, I'm going to cover that in the next video. I've been mowing a combination between 25 and 32 mil. I've got my new Allet cylinder mower, which I'll link to a full review of in the description above. I've been really loving the cylinder mower and I'm getting some great results. If the weather continues to be wet like this, you'll also probably notice a build-up of grass within the mower, and it's important to just keep on top of that and don't let it build up on the inside, especially if you've got a rotary type of mower, because this can almost form a really solid concrete type of substance that's very difficult to get off. I keep a brush or wire brush next to the mower and just rub it down, brush it down after the mow, keep it clean and sharp, and it'll keep the grass nice and healthy with a fresh cut. Mowing at a slightly longer height will also help with the wet weather of it treading down and provide a level of disease resistance to the turf. Thanks for watching the September lawn care video. I've got loads of exciting content for you, and in the meantime, check out some other lawn care videos that you might like, and don't forget to subscribe to that channel and turn your notifications on. Leave me a comment down below if you've got any questions for the video, or if you like to share with me what you're doing in the garden in September.